right, everybody. Welcome to the RTV Zone Survivor Reality Wrap-Up. You guys are probably wondering where Evil Dick is. Well, he ain't here, even though he was up there on the credits. I have actually been upgraded from peanut gallery to host. Unbelievable. I'm going to be driving this trash-talking train wreck tonight.
Are you the evil Lex now?
I'm a kinder, gentler host. I'm going to leave the evil to Dick. But we are going to be smack talking. We're going to be talking strategery. And again, I'm Lex.
Is that a word, strategery?
I made that. Well, I didn't make it up, but it's like strategy and trickery, which really is what Survivor's all about, right? Strategy, trickery.
Look, I learned something new today.
I can handle that.
Strategery. So I'm Lex. You guys may remember me as two-time non-winner from Survivor Africa and All Stars, but I'm stoked to have with me our two top shelf, top tier guests. Sandra, two-time winner. Give us the
over here.
and yeah, have you been on twice or three times now?
2 times, only twice.
All of us are two-timers. You're two-timer as well, right, Sandra?
Right.
Yes.
We're all two-timers. So
but
there you go.
Out there again, I'll bring back home another $1 million.
I have no doubt. If I had to put my money on it, I'd put my money on you probably every time at this point.
No.
so this is cool. It's just three of us. I made sure that our friends helping us in the back rooms there, Patrick, Matt, and Fetus. I told them to make sure no one got through the velvet rope except for the people that were really top class, top tier. So it's just the three of us. I think there's probably a bunch of survivors waiting out there.
Is Fetus a real person? I just thought he was calling somebody an ugly name.
No, Fetus he's the real deal. I was actually hanging out with him on the interwebs before the show.
No, because I just know Patrick, but I didn't know Fetus. I thought he was calling Patrick Fetus.
No, Fetus is he's behind the curtain that makes all of this technological shit work.
Cool.
Oh, okay, awesome.
So right. We're all here thanks to Fetus.
Thank you, Fetus.
Yeah, thank you, Fetus.
I can't get myself to say that name. I'm sorry.
Well, you could call him Chris, because I think his real name is Chris, but Fetus sounds so much more rock and roll. So guys, what about the episode this week? Pretty good stuff,
There's
right?
no crying in Survivor. There's no crying. Come on, Brandon. What's all that crying? Oh my God, he was crying
He's
the top
such
of the
a
pit.
pussy. I hate this kid. I'm so done with him.
You know, I almost made a promise to myself that if I hosted that I would make sure he got no airtime, but I'm going to break that rule right now by saying either he's crying or he's confessing. It seems that every scene he's in, he's going to the confessional. You know, he's like confessing to a priest or something. If I was out there, I'd tell him, just go out, 3 Hail Marys, 2 Our Fathers, and shut the fuck up from now on.
He is
Amen,
so guilt-ridden. I don't know why he feels so guilty about everything he does on the island. I mean, it doesn't matter what he's doing. He's chopping a coconut. He's guilty that he's not feeding enough people. And he say anything. I mean, he's just so guilt-ridden. He can't even talk. And he can't. Every time someone tells him something, he has to go around to tell everybody about it just to prove to himself he's not lying. I'm going to, share everything with you. I mean, finally we see Coach. Of all the people, I'm cheering for Coach. I can't believe that, right? He's telling him, shut up!
Oh, we're going to come back to that. We're actually going to roll a clip probably with that. Now, I hate to jump ahead, but jump into the very end of the episode where they were at Tribal Council, and then we'll go back to the beginning of the show and hit it chronologically. It was unbelievable to me to hear, 23 seasons now? Is that about right?
Yeah.
Right.
That there's somebody on this show, and when Jeff asked him about how he felt being on the show or being in the game or whatnot, Brandon Hantz talked about how the one thing he didn't want was to be misrepresented. Isn't that what being on a fucking reality TV show is all about? It's like they are going to edit you however they feel is going to make the best TV, and you ought to know what are you doing?
You have no control over what they portrayed you. When you come into the show, they already have all the psychological profile tests. You are now, you're this season's wimp, or you're this season's loudmouth jerk, or you're this season's, exhibitionist. I mean, they already decide that, and they're going to edit it so that they highlight that particular part of your character.
I don't feel like they have to do too much to his character because that is exactly how he's coming off, like a freaking crazy nut, like a psycho, like a not a pedophile, but a stalker kind of guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
He's Looney Tunes.
How did you guys feel about the whole, like, how you were edited, or knowing that you were going to be on this show and they could do whatever they wanted with you? Did it bother you, or did you not give a shit?
I didn't give a shit. Half the time, the stuff that was put on TV, I couldn't even remember doing it because I'm always moving, you know, although
Yep.
I take it day by day, but my brain is always moving in different directions. There were things I said that I'm like, damn, did I say that? Things I did, damn, did I do that? Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't even recall that Coach had gone up the tree and I bet $1. I didn't even remember that.
The first season is when I was naive, right? But so by the third episode, I got, oh my God, they are just highlighting my particular, emphasize a particular area of my character, right? They said, okay, so I'm the sort of lovable old geek for that season, okay? So when I do things that's geeky and lovable, they're going to show it. When I have a fight or quarrel with someone, they would never show it. And then all the stuff that I thought was really interesting, they never show it because they will break the character that they're trying to portray me as. Then, you know, then I go, oh, that's what it's all about.
That's right. I mean, I think they often figure that the American audience can only handle, or the global audience can only handle, like a one or a two-dimensional character, maybe. You know, that they're not smart enough. But I think they're probably a lot smarter than they give them credit for.
But you realize that they're really trying to tell a story, right? So they want that story to be quite linear. There's a story arc, they follow it, and once they start on the story, they have to keep telling it the same way.
Agree. There were plenty of arguments and stuff like that I totally remember like they were yesterday that were never even seen, and I was hoping that they'd be secret scenes so people can understand why things happen a certain way, and nothing was shown on it. That was disappointing.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you think about it, I think somebody told me that they shoot like several hundred hours per episode. It's like two or 300 or 400 hours of footage per episode that makes it to air. And talk about the possibilities of having, like, DVDs with bonus content, you know, behind the scenes or never before seen footage. I mean, they could probably make a mint.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they could do so much with that.
Yeah, they sure could. The Pearl Islands DVD had never seen before stuff, but now the Heroes versus Villains doesn't have that. I don't think it does.
Yeah. Well, I know the Africa that they just released, it had a couple of little things, but very little, and no commentary or any of that stuff. I think they're going for the pretty lean DVD sets.
Yeah, the problem with
the
commentary stuff, the earlier seasons when they have all the commentary, they have to bring those guys back into a studio and
pay them
down and talk about it, right? It costs money. Not only that, but if they're doing Amazon now, so many years afterwards, you know, how much do you guys really remember about the incident and so on? So
I remember. I remember just every time if I watch it, it brings it all back. It's kind of weird. So let's talk about the show this week. Let's talk about episode 4. So specifically about strategery. Show starts off, you've got Jim, who fancies himself, I think, kind of the Richard Hatch of the South Pacific. I mean, Jim thinks he's kind of a big deal, and he's supposedly got the whole game planned out. He approaches Cochran with a big plan. What do you guys think about Jim's strategery and his gameplay and his planning?
If I were Cochran and he came to me and told me that stuff, I would go along with him, right, and take out that chick. What is it, Elise? Was that her name?
Elise, right. Yeah.
And then when Elise went home, I turned around and tell Ozzy I was only doing what Jim told me to do because he said, hey, don't worry about it, Cochran. After Elise, we'll take care of Ozzy. Bam! Save myself another freaking 3 days. What?
Yep. Cochran's, if I were Cochran, the strategy would be anybody but me, okay? Just anybody but me, and keep riding can take the lead, right?
And that's what your boy Cochran's doing, Sandra.
Right, exactly. He's doing that. And so the problem is now he needs to reach out to everybody there. He couldn't just hang on to one or two, right? Because if anybody but me, you need to know when your name is up, right? You need to be very aware of that.
Well, I mean, I have to say, I know that I wasn't a huge Cochran fan to begin with, but I am starting to jump on the Cochran train. I think that he's had enough time now, what is it, about 11, 12 days into the game, that he's learned to calm down, and he's not freaking out about the fact that he's not the popular kid or that he's got body issues. He's finally put his head in the game. He understands that Survivor's a waiting game, and you can't plan the whole thing out ahead of time. You know, that you can tell he knows that shit is going to change day to day.
Yes,
Whereas Jim, the problem with Jim is that he seems to think that he can write a 39-day plan ahead of time and just follow it day to day, and it'll get him to the end, which never happens on Survivor, because you could plan something way out, and one day one thing happens and your whole plan is torn asunder.
He's already spent $1 million.
Yeah, Jim has.
He's already made plans for it.
I don't think he is nearly in the same league as what he thinks he is. You can tell that. He thinks he's a big deal.
Yeah,
Cochran is
every
sitting
time
pretty right now.
right in this game, as soon as you think you're safe, you're in trouble. Right, you cannot ever let down your guard and think, oh, I got it under control, I'm safe. There's no such thing, all right?
There is no such thing. There is no such thing. But it's funny. He even
thought I was going home.
Jim at one point even said, Ozzy knows that. What did he say? He talked about how he was indispensable or something in the beginning. What is it that he said? There was something that poked out at me.
Said that Ozzy. Shit, I know what you're talking about.
Ozzy knew that if Jim went, that he would be like the only important player. It would be his game or something. Like Jim, the power player in the game, which I don't see.
Yeah, but you know what? When it first started too, on the first episode, Jim Hessel mentioned to somebody that Ozzy was trying to show. Shit, man. There was a word he used, like, to pull, not his clout, to was that what he said? In a way, trying to say like he was testing his waters and making sure that he's above everybody else. He used the term, but I can't even recall what it was. I want to think that he was saying something about how much clout he had.
It's almost like you can almost see that there's like a battle for alpha male in that tribe. And like Jim's like, well, I'm going to let Ozzy think that he's the alpha, that he's the leader, but it's really I'm the one pulling the strings. Right. Kind of very Richard Hatch, which, I don't see it at all. I think that Jim's the only one that sees that.
And Ozzy's really always been a laid-back player, too. Yeah. But he wants to run the show, and he wants to make sure he makes it far. And I can see why he's saying no strategy. But see, he screwed up because Dawn heard that. And Dawn is with Jim. So I'm glad that she opened her mouth and let Jim know, hey, you're not in that little group like you think you are.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So to me, it seemed so transparent and so obvious that what Ozzy was doing when he was saying no strategy talk. It wasn't him saying, let's just enjoy ourselves and relax. It was his crude way of trying to control his tribe.
I think he might have watched the prior season maybe 5, 6, 7 times all the way through. Maybe he was trying to analyze the prior season too much to where he doesn't want to allow other people to talk strategy, like Boston Rob was saying, how he doesn't let them talk. So maybe that's what he's trying to do, but that's not going to work because what happened last time will not happen this time. Ozzy and Coach, neither one of them, I'd put money that they won't win.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And, it was funny to see, I think that Ozzy is trying to play the opposite game that Jim is trying to play at this point. You got Jim over-strategizing, you've got Ozzy under-strategizing or pretending to under-strategize. But neither of them are really, I don't think it's really working. I think eventually it's going to catch up with Ozzy.
As far as Ozzy is concerned, all he needs to do is hang in there till the merge, all right? Because right after the merge, when it's individual immunity,
and I think
he could have a run
that.
on it, right? He's swim.
But all the challenges won't be for him to win them all. They're not going to allow him to win all the challenges.
He knows he can do puzzles. The guy's good at challenge. So that's what he thinks he's going to do. Make it to the merge. He'll be clear.
And go for a run.
Go for the run. And people who are going to hang on his coattail, right, are also betting on that.
Do you think that this is a crew that would actually, if he made it to the final 2 or 3, that they would actually vote for him to win a returning player?
They would vote for him to win.
No, if he's the reason why they went home, they wouldn't give him the votes.
But he's a nice guy so far, right? I mean, he
He is
haven't
a nice guy.
outwardly
You know
tell
what?
people, you know.
He's keeping his hands
Awesome.
pretty clean
It's
right now.
too
for sure.
early. It's too
Right.
early. It's too
Yeah.
early to even mention all this. Yeah, it's too early.
So what do you
Because
guys
I'm
think
really an
now?
Ozzy fan. I like him.
Now, moving forward a little bit to the Redemption Island duel. What do you guys think is the reason that nobody on the Savai'i tribe wanted to go to the duel? Why it was like somebody threw a dog turd out there. Everybody backed away. They didn't want to go.
I don't think they wanted to leave camp.
because they know people are going to talk about them or start strategizing.
I don't think they wanted to leave camp, but I think the
Or
way
maybe-
Cochran did it and the way Jim did it was perfect. It didn't insinuate anything. It was more like I volunteered and nobody wanted to go with me, but here's Jim that was willing to go just to see what's going on. So
Right.
I think it was all right.
Or nobody cared who wins.
Well, I mean, it could be
Yeah.
that. It could be that the Redemption Island thing has gotten old enough, not only with us at home, but with the players themselves, that they don't really care what happens there.
The challenges are also wimpy. I mean, it's just tossing
Oh my God.
sandbags. Come on.
Yeah, so
Yes, that would have been my challenge because anything physical, they would have burnt my butt.
yeah, but you need to know that challenge came on. I was literally shouting at the TV. It was like a game of toss across. You know that game with the beanbags?
Yeah.
What? It's like they are scraping the bottom of the barrel over at the challenge design department. I mean, what's going to be next? A giant game of pickup sticks or tiddlywinks?
It's also
No,
a
but
very
it's
small arena,
perfect.
a very small island to do it in, right? So they couldn't do anything substantial.
But,
It's perfect because it's not something physical because they're both older people and it wouldn't be fair to try to match them up if it was a young person with an old person. It was perfect. It was a very neutral game. It
Sandra.
was simple and quick.
So when did being 30-something mean that you were an old person? You of all people, Sandra. Come on.
Because I'm not an athletic person, first of all. So those challenges would have been perfect. Well, not the one where you had the one last week where Sam Hart lost because we tried to do that one out there like 2 or 3 times, holding crap up, holding up dishes, and that stuff sucks. But
I mean,
I
I'm calling
loved
horseshit. I'm calling horseshit on this because I'm 48 years old, and you throw any fucking Survivor challenge that's been on at me, and I will get through it.
What I like
you're
to
a
see on
physical
Redemption
person.
Island, what I like to see the challenge on the Redemption Island are the endurance type. You know, those hang upside
Yeah.
down. Who can hang the longest
Yeah.
over water?
That's gonna
Okay.
be-
The ones that
too
last,
long.
the ones that
Bugs
last a
falling
few
over
hours.
you.
no, because those people can't sit out there watching these challenges all day long.
Why
It's got to
not?
be something
Why
big,
not?
fast, and in a hurry. They're going to be
That'd
out
be
of
kinda
camp for
cool,
too
though.
long. That would be
Right,
horrible.
then
That would
you
be
can fight
setting
over who
them
to send
up.
to watch it.
Perfect.
No.
Perfect. And then every week, somebody different, 2 different people have to go, and you don't
Right.
know if it's going to be a short challenge or a
Right.
long challenge, but you have to agree on it. That would be kind of entertaining. And you don't know if you're going to end up at a 6-hour challenge
Right.
or a 5-minute. I like that idea.
No,
It's like sitting players out. You can only sit a player out. You can't sit a player out twice in a
Back
row.
to back, yeah, back-to-back challenges.
Same thing with Redemption Island. You can't have people go back to back, and you don't know if you're going to end up with a 6-hour challenge or a 6-minute challenge.
Well, I'm glad Christina won because she's got a lot of mouth. She's another sassy woman herself. She's got a lot to say.
Oh yeah, she's got spunk, and she's still in it.
That was just dumb luck, right? I mean, you toss those bags out there. It's just dumb luck.
Well, it
Come
was
on,
It
y'all.
could
lot
do
of it
anyway.
was
Come
luck.
on.
You would have liked that challenge, so stop talking mess.
Yeah.
Stop talking mess. The bad thing about it is that Christina is going to have to go against, what's this girl that just got voted out?
Stacy.
Stacy, and they're friends, and that's a shame. Somebody's got to go.
Yep. True. So I got to say something again. I'm always the one that's coming out and complaining about old school, get the old-fashioned way. And there's something that they did this episode that I don't recall them doing before, and that was at the end of Redemption Island. They actually aired Papa Bear talking about how it was a dream of his to be on Survivor, the show.
Oh,
and
the
how he
confessional
auditioned for it.
afterwards, the exit confessional. Yeah.
And you know that what really bothered me about that is that it tears down that fourth wall to where I remember back in the days of Africa, we were not allowed to talk about Survivor as a show ever.
Yes.
Anytime we talked about the show itself, they told us, well, we can't air any of that because they wanted people back home to feel like they're in this adventure with us and that it's not a TV show. It's actually 16 Americans that are surviving and are fighting for $1 million.
That was the same
And now
in
they've got
Fiji.
this. Yeah, and now they've got this guy who's talking about how he'd always dreamed about being on this, and he said it, TV show,
Right.
about auditioning for it, and that it ruins it for me.
Right, the same thing at Tribal Council, where they have more, where Russell was mentioned more than anything else, right? About Uncle
I don't
Russell.
like it.
So that's referencing back to the show. So I think that they decide that the days that people think this is a live show when a bunch of people are stranded on an island is over. Everybody knows it's a TV show, so play it
we all
out.
know it's not a live show, but it takes you out of that adventure.
Yeah.
It makes it, I mean, even if, we all know it's a TV show, but it makes it more of a show and less, an interesting experience. I mean, what do you think, Sandra?
Well, going back to what Yao said, back in the day, we couldn't mention other seasons and other players.
Nope.
Right.
And here they are, because I don't want to say his name, here they are talking about the creepy uncle. Okay,
Yeah.
we just call him creepy
Yeah.
uncle. Who could do no wrong to the nephew's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, it's true. Back in the day, you weren't allowed to do certain things and say certain things. And now everything is just changing, but it could be new producers.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, exactly, and that's what I was thinking. I was thinking it's obvious that a different executive producer is in charge, and they get to, make the creative calls on what gets shown and what doesn't. So
Yeah, 'cause it
let's
changes a lot.
let's go to a clip. This is a clip that I want F moment. Every Survivor episode has like a WTF moment where you're just looking at the TV and going, "What the fuck?" So this is my WTF moment. You guys, once it plays, you guys can chime in and tell me what do you think was going on here. So, Fetus, could you roll clip 1, please?
Jim and I who are on board with voting out Elise. So we're gonna have to find somebody that's gonna be willing to do
Not yet,
this,
wait
or
for
else
it.
We're screwed.
Here we go. Hey, Fetus, it didn't even show.
What, were you talking about the part where the two girls and the guys were all by the water with the trunks on?
The part that I'm about that freaked me out is when they show Ozzy out in the water and he's waving his swim trunks above his head like, "Yoo-hoo, come in and join me," like he's naked in the water.
We're on board with voting out Elise.
Let's see if it plays this time. So I think we might be having video problems.
To do this, or else we're screwed.
Yeah, there.
Okay, I hear it, but I don't see it.
Yeah,
Did you guys see it?
Yeah.
We
Oh,
hear
there it
it.
is. Look at him. Look at him. All right, what the fuck?
They're teaching the audience.
Is that what it is?
For
Sandra,
the female audience. They're
Sandra,
hoping
were
to
you
see
titillated?
Ozzy
To
naked.
be honest with you, I'm seeing that clip now for the first time. I must have blinked when it happened yesterday.
Well, I guess
'Cause I
Ozzy ain't
didn't
all
see
that
it.
then.
I didn't see it. Yeah, I mean, no, for real. I didn't see that. I thought you were talking about maybe when they were looking at trunks and
Right,
the
no,
girl
they
came
were
out with a
given new
bathing
swimming wear. No, wait,
suit.
they were given new swimming wear, right? Those
Yeah.
girls got the new bikini. The guys got new swimming trunks. So he was showing off the new trunks.
Yeah,
So he wasn't wearing anything in the water either.
but I didn't
Right.
see that. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to start watching these episodes twice so that when I get on here, I'm not ate up because I didn't see all that.
Sandra, you got to host it next time because when you host it, you take notes about everything and you notice everything.
Oh my God, I got so much stuff to do. I can't host. I can just hang out right now and just chill.
All right, so let's go on clip number 2. This is going ahead to the reward immunity challenge. Don't think we really need to set it up. You guys know what happened, and we're going to kind of jump to the end of the challenge where it was down to the 2 chicks. And let's go ahead and roll clip number 2, Fetus.
Bounce it out. Here we go. 3, 2.
That was a Pearl Islands challenge.
Was it? Oh, you're right. You're right. Now look at this. I want to point out the form. These two girls are the last to go, and they did not have the pole on their shoulders. They were using their backs and their booty, and clearly Stacy has some booty to park that pole on. Seems like I thought she was unbeatable at this point. I didn't think there was any possible way that pole would come off of that booty. Because I mean,
You know
Dawn's
what?
got no
I want
booty.
numbers. I want numbers. I want to know the woman's weight and the men's weight versus how much they were carrying, and I want to know the percentage of who did the best job.
All right, and here we go. Down to the wire. I'm honestly shocked because Dawn's got nothing to park that pole on.
Yeah, I was shocked. She again, she got lucky. She beat her by just a second.
But I mean, but you got to hand it to her. She,
Yeah,
lucky
no,
or
I
not, she was holding that
She
pole
was
up.
holding
I gotta tip my hat to her. So
Before the first episode, Dawn was my favorite, only because she gave Sassy Sandra some props on her interview.
nice.
So I'm glad she won that challenge for them.
I'm glad she won. Hopefully she's still not obsessing on the fact that she's 40 years old, which she thinks makes her old, because 40 ain't old. I'm going to keep saying that. It's like people that think that they're old at 40,
Agreed.
they're only as old as you feel and as old as you act, because these 20-somethings...
I just turned 59, so 40 is not old.
And you had a
Dawn
year
doesn't
over
have to
29.
Right.
Look, Dawn doesn't have to worry about anything because the crap Jim is pulling is either going to bite him in the ass or it's going to freaking work to where Elise is going to go, and Cochran can help him vote her out. Dawn could help him too and save themselves, and then they could turn around and make Ozzy paranoid and still save themselves a couple of more weeks. So Dawn is in a perfect position too.
There are a whole bunch of people that have not said anything yet. What happened? Why didn't they interview these
No, you know
people?
what? No. I'm sure the people are saying stuff because I was invisible the first couple of episodes, and trust me, I was there, and so was this damn mouth, okay?
Oh, I know. Wherever you are, your mouth is. I know that.
It only makes sense, right?
So, did you guys find it strange that with a strength challenge like that Ozzy did not man up and volunteer to play that game? I thought that was horse shit.
Yeah, what happened? Why wasn't he...
Why did Keith?
Maybe
Why was Keith
because he's a
up there?
tiny guy.
No, he's not. No,
He's
he's not.
a
Ozzy's
small
not
guy.
a
The
tiny
guy's
guy.
strong.
You would hope that somebody bigger
That guy is
can
strong.
take more of the weight.
That guy
Now,
is
here's
strong.
the thing, though. For them to put Dawn over there versus these other younger girls, that's a
Yep.
different story.
Yep. Now, here's the other thing. So,
No,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, Lex. Look, I feel that nobody wanted to be responsible. You know how I play sometimes where, hey, I wasn't even in that challenge, so don't blame me. So it all boils down to one of those, don't blame me when the shit goes bad. That's
that didn't do it because, again, I mean, maybe he's better at strategy than we've been giving him credit for because he knows that if he's not up there, I mean, he literally sat out the challenge. He wasn't even hanging the bags up. If he's not part of the challenge, he can't get blamed for the challenge getting lost. I mean, it's simple as that, but
and there's no way that in the following challenges he won't participate because if it's something he's strong at, you know he's going to be in the forefront.
Yeah.
So he played this good, though.
so
did.
He's not needed.
Here's the thing that bothered me from the challenge to the end of the episode because they kept mentioning it. They continued, but Jeff mentioned it, the players mentioned it. They kept talking about how Stacy lost that challenge. But when you think about it, there were 3 people on her team, and she was the last standing. So she was the closest out of all 3 of them to winning it. If
And she was so
anybody
close to winning it.
If anybody screwed it up and should be voted out for screwing up the challenge, it should be the first 2 guys that went down, not her, right?
Yeah.
That's why I want to know what the percentage is. I want to know, you know how they say like an ant could carry 5, 6, 7 times their weight? I want to know, like I said, her weight plus what she was carrying versus what the men were carrying. And I want to know who had the most percentage on their shoulders. That's what I want to know.
I mean, we all know that women are much better at putting up with pain and any kind of hardship than us men. I mean, you women are actually biologically, predisposed to being able to we're babies. You guys have to make babies, carry babies, and birth babies, which means by definition you have a much higher pain threshold. Absolutely, absolutely. Y'all are much tougher than us. There's no doubt about it.
But Sassy Sandra would not volunteer for the pole. That's not the kind of pole I want, especially not on my back, okay?
Well, that's right. I remember your
No
T-shirt.
pole on my back.
You love pole on your. I love cock.
I
Ren.
love Cochran, yeah.
Yeah.
I still love that kid, I'm telling you.
Well,
He's
I'm becoming a fan.
He
He's
may go
working.
far.
happen.
He may go far.
I think that
He's
he's
working.
finally got his head in the game. He's thinking about the shit he should be thinking about, like getting rid of Ozzy, like making sure numbers on his side, and not saying too much. I mean, I think he's finally figuring it out.
Yeah,
I like to see
he's
that.
in a good spot.
So, Fetus, let's go ahead and let's just give you guys an intro. We're going to roll clip number 3, and this is the one that Yao, you talked about earlier, where Coach starts scolding Brandon and telling him to stop it. And we'll talk about this right after the clip roll. So let's roll that clip, Fetus.
Out for themselves. It's a really selfish game, so you got to do what you have to do to win. Coach, we got a problem on our hands. Another one? Yeah, buddy. We don't have a 5 alliance. It might be the end of the road as far as that goes. Stacy just came up to me while we were gone. She came up to me and said that Albert, Michaela, and Sophie have something going on.
Stop it.
I'm telling you.
No, I want you to stop it.
Even if Coach managed to control him for this second, that kid is crazy, and that stuff is
Yeah.
going to still be right here.
Yeah.
And like he told Coach, they've gotten you twice before.
He's on death row. Like Stacy knows she
But it seems to me that Coach is finally actually he's learned some wisdom in the past games. I mean, I totally relate to what he's saying, and I think that he's smart. But I think that, like you said, the fact that he still trusts or considers Brandon to be in his alliance, to me, seems like game suicide.
No, he may decide he's a good goat to bring along.
No, that kid is only in his own alliance. That
But
kid isn't with anybody else.
See, that kid is not a good goat to bring along
Yeah.
because he's got such a big mouth.
Yeah, he's
And
a
it's
loose cannon, and he's
it's-
completely
yeah.
out of control.
It's like making an alliance with a case of dynamite. When is it going to blow up?
Case of dynamite.
You don't know, you know?
My thing, look, here's the deal. The only reason Coach didn't buy, had Brandon came up to him and said, I saw them myself, instead of saying Stacy just told me, I think it would have went differently. The fact that he said, wait a minute, this chick is on the chopping block, she's scared. That's how I played Coach last time, put it off Coach. Because I felt like I was in trouble. I went and told the creepy uncle something, and it ended up sending Coach home. So that's why he said, wait a minute, she's on the chopping block. She's going to confuse you. You're getting sidetracked. That's not what's going on. He's got him under control for now, but he's not going to forget what she told him. Because she said they've been going around, sneaking around, talking. That's still happening.
Yep, you're right. You're right.
Anytime those people are going to... Anytime those people will be together and that kid is not present, he's going to say, they're talking about us.
About me.
Coach, me and you are over here, and they're over there. And that's 3. Well, it's 4 of them, because...
this-
No, it is 3.
I mean, this is Brandon showing that he's kind of an unrefined version of his uncle. I mean, clearly. Not that, I mean, I find it hard to even refer to Russell as refined, but what he's doing is he's manipulating Coach now, saying, hey, Coach, you ought to be paranoid because these people are talking about you.
Right.
So he's doing the kind of master manipulation, not with a real mastery of it, but he's doing what Russell got famous doing. It's just like Michaela said, blood is blood. Brandon can't help himself. He is a little Russell. I mean, I'm not blaming him for it. It's like blood is blood. You can't change your own DNA.
And that's another reason why he's paranoid, too, because in the back of his mind, he's got to be thinking, did I make the right choice in revealing who my uncle is? Because I'm already fucking this game up by myself.
No, it's worse
Now I
than that.
got this name.
He's trying to play it both ways, right? He has the urge to play it like the uncle, but then he also have this humongous guilt trip about it, right?
Right.
And when upon reflection, I go, oh no, I shouldn't be doing that. Now, should I confess? Should I own up to it? And then he still wanted to play it, and then he felt bad about it. I mean, the guy is going to be schizo before this
But I think
season's
he's
over.
guilty because he knows that he has no control over what his brain and his body urging him to do.
Right.
because it's blood is blood. So
And this game is not a clean game either. There's going to be times where you're going to have to do stuff that you don't want to do. But if he's having issues, how bad do you want that $1 million?
yeah,
Right.
Forget
Do it and
about
then
it, you
at
know.
the end confess and say, hey, you guys, sorry, I did it for the $1 million. I mean,
yep. So let's we're running out of time, but I want to get a couple other things out of the way. We're going to do video mailbag as well. But one thing that I have to mention that I'm going to jump ahead to Tribal Council that kind of again struck me as again Jeff seems season to season to feel more and more comfortable with becoming not just a host but actually an active player who helps kind of determine who gets voted out, because you can't deny that Jeff is in a position of power, and when he makes suggestions at Tribal Council or he asks very pointed questions about specific people, that he may plant a seed in someone's head, or he may tip the scale one way or another if it happens to be teetering. So did you guys catch that at the end he went through and he asked that question of everybody about, how does this person annoy you? Who is the most annoying person? Now, I know that when I played Survivor, there's nothing that gets you voted out quicker, not even hard gameplay. There's nothing that gets you voted out quicker than being annoying to other people. Did you guys think that Jeff stepped over the line when he asked about all
he's
of
doing
that?
it a lot
The
more.
first time, though.
Right. He's doing a lot more openly. He has always been sort of the other player, right? When there's 6 people left, he's the 7th player.
Right.
Now he's doing it openly. I mean,
Yep.
pretty much he's given out, the whole thing and say, hey, I'm one of the players, you guys, listen.
And that's my point. Is that okay? Do you think it's okay or is it not okay?
I feel like in a way it helps people realize where they might be, where they might want to tread lightly. For example, on other episodes, hasn't he put it out there where you have to say somebody's name, that who's annoying and who's this
Right.
and who's that? Or am I talking about Big Brother?
No, that was in one of the challenge in Fiji where, we were asked, who do you think smells the worst? Who do you think,
Right.
is the
And they
most
kept
rude
picking
person?
on the same girl.
Right.
Courtney, was it? Who was the girl? A white girl with a lot of hair. Who was it? People get their feelings hurt and then
Yeah.
no. That one crazy chick. Wasn't there like a crazy chick that went bananas?
Oh, Sugar?
No. On a more recent she was with Coach, I want to say with Coach and Tyson. That blonde girl that was nuts. I've never met her though.
Not remember. There's too many of us now.
Yeah, and it's Alon's. What am I thinking? But anyway, the point is that when he gets this stuff out in the open, it lets people know that, hey, you're freaking annoying, or you need to turn it around, or you need to get your shit together, because these people, for right now, they're going to continue to take whatever crap you're sending their way, but the first chance they get, you're going to be the first to go,
Right.
because can't nobody stand being with
Yeah.
you. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's how Lil was. I would wake up and I would cuss Lil out like, motherfucker, like, bitch, you still here? Why couldn't you die last night? Like, crazy shit. Because she was freaking annoying. I love her now, but she was
That's what I'm
annoying
saying.
out there.
The annoyance factor is your easiest ticket out of the game. If you're annoying, you're out. Period.
That's why I thought Edna Ma was going home over Stacy, because I feel
Me
that
too.
Stacy contributed a lot to the challenge, but Edna was with Coach, and Coach is protecting her for now.
And I think Stacy was already on the outs. She was already outside the fold. She just
I
couldn't
think
recover.
behind the scenes we have not seen, she must be really a lot
Yeah.
more mouthy than Sandra. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and not
So-
And not only
let's,
that,
yeah.
I was going to say that Coach could be protecting Edna because he knows how everyone dislikes her way of being, and he could just be saying, okay, well, before I go home, she'll go home. So,
Yeah. Well, it seems to me that Coach is obviously in the driver's seat when it comes to that tribe. I mean, he's the one that's calling the shots right now. You guys there? I'm having
For now.
audio problems. Yeah.
yeah, we're having some
they're
audio
going to
problems.
have to cut him loose
Yeah.
for now.
All right, so let's go ahead and go to video mailbag.
Where'd you
We're
guys
almost
go?
out of time.
Everybody's...
Hey, Phoenix,
Are you there?
It
I'm
sounds
like the
like
only
we're having some
one.
problems.
The echo is getting worse and worse.
It sounds like you guys are just kind
No,
of...
Yeah.
there's like a latency or something. It's weird. We'll just
Yeah.
carry on. Okay, got it.
Okay,
All right,
so we'll
cool.
just continue. We'll keep on
So-
rocking and rolling.
That's right. So let's go ahead and get the video mailbags going. Make sure that we show some love to the viewers. So let's go ahead and put up the first video mailbag. Dino.
Hey guys, it's Dino from Arizona.
Oh, a
I
clip.
just wanted to express my hatred for some of the non-existent players this season, like
Oh,
Sophie,
Dino.
Rick, that dude that looks like Wyatt Earp, Albert, Keith, Whitney, just to name a few. They seem like really boring players, and being as they haven't even hardly been on the show, it just means that they probably go deep, and I fucking hate that shit. But anyhow, here's my question. Players like Philip and this guy Brandon, they're totally made out to be a douchebag on TV. Whether they're good people in real life or not doesn't really matter, but they have to be ridiculed in their real life. And I'm wondering what your opinion is on the psychological effects that these people have to go through after they get off the show.
Wow, we need a few
personally-
hours to answer that, probably.
I think
No,
somebody
you know
like
what? I
Brandon
personally,
who's young,
Philip,
the
I
younger
met
people would
Philip
have more
and
trouble.
go ahead, Yao. Go ahead, because we both
Sorry.
can't talk. It's like we're both talking at the same time. You go
Yeah,
ahead.
I
Go
think
ahead.
somebody like Brandon, who's young, would have a lot more problems trying to deal with it and handle it with a lot less life experience. But I think somebody who's older, have a lot more life experience, would be able to handle it a lot easier.
I agree with that. Sandra?
I met Philip Ando and we hit it off. He is a great person. In a way, I want to say that he didn't like a lot of the stuff the way he is, his kind of character, because when you sit there and get to know him, he's really like an awesome person. So he can't be as bad. Maybe he pissed them off 1 or 2 hours a day, but I don't think he's as bad as they made him out to be. But he is an older person, and he was used to a lot of adversity. Now, with this Brandon kid, this kid already came in the game fucked up. His head is
You're
all
right.
twisted.
Yep.
He's already a fucking mess. You know what I'm saying? I think he wants to be big time, like he assumes that his creepy uncle is, and
Yep.
it's not so. The uncle
Well-
is only big in his own world.
Every time somebody I know says that they want to apply for Survivor, I always say, you know what, I'll help you. I'll tell you, what you need to do for your video or whatever to make it the best video you can be. But careful what you wish for. Because it ain't just, I'm going to be on TV, my life's going to be great, I'm going to be famous, I'm going to get laid, I'm going to make money. There is so much other stuff, so much baggage that comes with it. And I mean, I don't regret a single experience I had. I loved it. I'd probably go back and do it again, one way or another. But you need to understand that shit that Dino was talking about, yeah, it's probably going to happen. And especially if your character like Sandra or me or even Yao, somebody that's got an opinion, they're going to manage probably to twist you into a character that someone else is either going to love or hate. That makes the best kind of character. So if you're not ready to handle people hating on you or talking smack about you or joking about you, you probably ought not to be on Survivor.
Yeah, and based
And
on
everybody is
something that
not
may
gonna
not be
like
true.
you.
Right.
Everybody's not gonna like you. Like everybody don't
Right.
eat strawberries and everybody don't eat pizza. That's
Right.
just a fact of life. And I don't
Exactly.
it doesn't bother me. Either you like me or you don't.
Exactly, and I
You know?
always told myself, look, I don't care if 10 million people or 20 million people hate me. I don't care as long as the 200 people or the 100 people that I count as my dearest friends and my family, as long as they like me, they love me, it doesn't matter what total strangers think about me. That's not important.
That's right. That's what's up.
So, Fetus, let's roll another. I think we've got time for one more video mailbag. Erno.
No, we already know
Hey,
his
what's up?
name.
It's Erno.
He got a haircut.
Okay, my question is about Redemption Island. We all
Hate it.
know that the idea of that is bringing back people who got voted off from the game. But it seems like people have forgotten that this isn't a new idea. They had that on Pearl Islands where Lel and Burden came back. But back then people thought that this Outcast twist was so unfair and they didn't deserve to come back and so on. So my question is that why that Outcast twist was so unfair and the Redemption Island twist is not, when they are almost the same thing. And also, where is Jerry? I miss her. Why is she?
Oh,
Why
I was
isn't
waiting-
she
I
doing
don't.
anymore this
I don't
week?
miss Jerry.
Shocking that I miss her.
There's a difference.
See you around.
The difference is that in the Pearl Island, the Hellcats coming back, nobody was told ahead of time. Nobody knew about.
Bingo.
Here in Redemption Island, up front, everybody know what's up, right? In that, yeah,
That
you
you
get
have
a
a
second
second
chance. So that's fair. People got upset with the Pearl Island when it's like, oh my God, why? We thought we got rid of that guy, right? But now you can strategize and say, wait, that guy could come back and haunt our life forever, right? So be careful who you want to send out there.
Yeah,
Sandra,
I
you
totally agree. I agree. The Outcasts, we didn't know they were coming back in the game. We would like, once that you're out of here, good riddance, no more. Then they come back. Then they didn't want Lil to come back, and that's exactly who came back to the show. The least two people wanted back in. But for some reason, they might have thought that it was so good because, I mean, it twisted our world around that they brought it back into Redemption Island. But like Yao said, and I agree with you totally, they are aware of the situation. They know there's a Redemption Island and there's a chance that they can make it back in the game. If they don't make it in the original, they'll make it in Redemption Island. That's what the difference is. And so it is fair. Redemption Island is fair because they're aware of it.
Yep, no, good points. So, we're gonna get close to wrapping it up now. Next week looks like it's gonna be a pretty killer episode. It looks like Cochran gets herpes from a pork roast on a spit during the Gross Food Challenge.
That was the same one we had in Fiji.
It looks
That's disgusting.
so
I know, it was
gross.
disgusting.
I am
No,
not
it was
down with that at
disgusting.
all.
We
It looks
dropped it
like
on the ground and we went on the ground and picked it up with our mouth. It was pretty gross.
Yeah, no, I don't need to see that. I don't think anyone needs to see that. It looks like Coach goes postal because he doesn't like people calling him by his actual God-given
Benjamin,
name. Did you guys
yes.
catch that?
Yes.
Benjamin?
Oh, yes.
He goes berserk. So that may have some we may have some good stuff next week on that. And Stacy, I mean, she's a pistol. She promises that when she gets back to the redemption duel, she's going to spill everything. So that ought to be pretty good too.
I want to know what she has to spill. That's interesting.
Yeah, and I think if anyone's going to share the dirt, it's going to be Stacy because she's pissed off.
Not only that, I hope she has a couple of days to make up some good shit, okay? Have all those people like, oh my God, like, was all this going on? Yeah, motherfucker, when you was over there.
That's right. The one thing I'm gonna ask you guys before we go is, did you guys notice something that I miss? Again, I'm like a broken record, talking about the shit that used to happen on Survivor that I miss now on the new Survivor. Do you know, they used to show at least 25 or 30% of people's votes and the comments that people's names down. I miss that because you learn.
But now it's
something.
online. You got to do it online. They want you to go online more.
Yeah, but it's
Because they wanted to use the last 30 seconds to show the Redemption Island, the new person coming in,
It
with
makes
the
for a
night
better
vision
episode,
shot.
though. I like it because they would pick and choose the ones that were either really controversial
Meaningful,
or the ones that told you something about what's happening in the game that maybe you didn't catch. It would give you a hint or a clue. And I thought that was really interesting. And I know that all of us, when we would go up and vote, we'd always spend that whole drive or that walk to tribal council. You'd think about, okay,
Thinking what to say.
What am I going to say? Because if it gets used, I want to make sure that it's gold. You know, and there was something fucking cool about hearing occasionally what people had to say, whether it was really pissed off or something clever or a secret message.
I don't think I ever thought my stuff out. I do it at the spur of the moment because I know our tribal councils will be long, and I'd be like,
Sandra,
by then I'd be like, you know what, fuck you, asshole.
Sandra, that's called verbal diarrhea.
I never had to think anything out. I'm like, I just go with it, whatever.
Brain dump with verbal diarrhea, yes.
Well, you guys, I want to thank you guys for joining me for this nice and intimate RTV Zone Survivor recap. Next week, I'm actually handing Evil Dick's car keys over to Rob Sesternino, who's going to be hosting, so make sure you guys show up. It should be fun. Everybody out there watching, show up next week. It's bound to be, a train wreck, and you're going to want to be right there ringside to watch it all.
Eliza couldn't join us because she's in court.
Oh, well.
Oh.
She's defending some mass murderer again in Manhattan.
Get out of here. But Lex, are you going on vacation?
I am not. No, I'm going to Europe pretty soon, but it's for work. So
Okay.
I'll probably be here next week when Sester Nino's in the house. But I'll
When
be one of
Sester
you
Nino
guys.
doesn't show up, you better have your
shit.
stuff right.
Shit,
Oh,
fire
we'll
hell,
wing
I
it.
ain't preparing nothing. Yeah, we
All right,
will
I have to
wing
together.
go. I have to go make some money coaching ping pong.
Hey, Yao, thanks for coming. Sandra, thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming. I want to
Bye,
thank
guys.
Matt. I want to thank Pat. And I want to thank Fetus and all you guys out there. Peace. We love you, and thanks for joining us.
Peace and hair grease.